Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 77 of It's No Secret Podcast Live. We are your hosts, Teresa, Charis, and Bianca Rose, or Bianca Rose today, apparently. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
It's Wednesday. Sorry. No, just kidding. Just a little. You got to be just a little insane.
She's going to start adding like a little punch.
Yeah. Oh, yep. That's going to be Shari's role in all of this.
A little triangle moment. Ding.
Ding. It is another Therapy Wednesday, so we are back here to have our therapy session with all of you wonderful people out there. Shout out to anyone who's watching us already on our YouTube, our Facebook, our Instagram, whatever poison you prefer. Today is going to be a special occasion, though, because this weekend is Fajas Day.
Oh, Fajas.
All the Fajas. But we can't have a Father's Day episode without a daddy on the panel to talk to represent for the male species, right? So we do have a special guest for everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you all to Nigel. Hello, Nigel.
Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Can't complain.
Can't complain. That's always a plus. So for anyone who doesn't know you, would you like to introduce yourself to the world?
Yeah, I'm Nigel Williams. I am a semi-professional musician, professional mental health advocate, and first-time dad.
Yeah. And how old is your little one?
She is 13 months.
13 months.
So a year and a month.
Okay, I was like, at what point do you stop counting in months, though?
I never
usually around 2.
But then I realized that like an 8-month-old and like a 12-month-old, like it's a big difference. So like usually like when it stops being a big difference, I think that's what
yeah.
I never got that whole thing. It's like she's 1. Just say she's 1.
Oh, but now you're saying she's 13 months.
Yeah, now I get it.
Yeah. It usually stops around 2.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, she's like
24 months.
She's 2T.
All right. So
Who? Who's it? Okay, it's her. Okay. Well, Teresa's camera's frozen. Okay.
I'm back.
You tried to get out of going first. Look
I did. I tried.
Something.
I tried. It didn't work.
And we all froze with her. We're like, Andy's coming. We Toy Story that shit so fast.
Andy's coming. Oh man. But as I was saying, as I was so rudely interrupted by the connection, we can't do a show without starting with our highs and lows. And that's why Shari was saying that I was trying to get out of going first because it's my turn to go first. So we are going to start with our lows for the week. So my low for this week has just been that I can't stay home every day, that I got to go to work and do stuff because like it's summertime. The girls are home. Like, I wish I could be home and, spending the summer with the kids. But unfortunately, bills got to get paid. So I'm taking my happy ass to work every day.
But it does woke up asking when summer vacation is.
Yeah, it started already. Yeah, it started already, but not for us. But it does make work like harder because I'm like, oh, we could be doing this and the girls are at home and, like stuff like that. So that was my low for the week. Shari, what was yours?
My low was on Tuesday. Nope. Monday.
I was going to say it's always on a Tuesday.
Monday. My last day of work was Friday.
Don't rub it in.
It's supposed to be a summer break. And typically we get to take 1 week off and then we go back for summer work. The few of us that go back. And so it was like, damn, I was like stressing because I'm like, oh, that's a week with no pay. Like that's going to hurt. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to get all this stuff done at home. I'm going to organize my garage and crafting and set up my desk and the playroom and do all this stuff. The long list of all the things I wanted to do this week. And then our boss calls me Monday like, oh, I got you guys approved to work this week. Going to come back tomorrow? And I'm like, sure.
I don't know. Do I?
He was like, I mean, you can take the week off and come back next week if you want. I was like, no. I need the money. I'll be there. But it was still like, bummer, because I had a long list of stuff that I wanted to get done. That's never going to get done.
I did not expect you to say that you actually got to go to work early. I thought you were going to be like, and I didn't get anything done.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So having to go to work early kind of was a bummer just because I had other plans. But I'll take the hours that I'm going to get.
Nice. All right, B.
I think
What
it's
about
funny
you?
because you definitely did ask. You're like, oh, how I'm not going to make any money. And God's like, I heard that. Let me answer your prayers. And then didn't finish listening to the rest. That's what I felt happened.
Yeah. It's pretty much what happens all the time in our conversations. He just cuts me off.
He's like,
enough,
you need
child,
to
enough.
be very specific with your wishes. I keep saying that. It's like,
Short-
you need to tell the genie very
Short,
specifically.
sweet, and to the point. B, what was your low?
My low for the week is that I did have fun. We'll talk about my high, but the effects of it is that I totally got sunburnt, and I don't get sunburn ever. I get dark during the summer if I spend some time outside. Not a problem. This time, this sun beat my ass and made me go to bed because I am so sunburned from my face to my arms to my thighs. I took a shower for the last couple of days, and just the water still itself is burning. And I'm like, this is actually, I've never experienced that as an adult. I don't burn, and this is like a new experience for me, and I'm not enjoying this.
This is a new sun. I keep telling everybody. I was like, this is not the sun I grew up with. It's a whole new sun because the way it burns and the way like you can't look at it. Like, you know, they tell you don't look at the sun when you were little, but you would still try to do it. Like, you could semi do it. Now try and do it. Let me know how that works out for you. You cannot.
No, this sun beat my ass bad. I'm like, I'm rubbing my thighs right now. I'm like, this hurts.
Get some aloe vera, girl.
I'm like gonna slug myself in my bed, just not moving, and it's just gonna be so slimy.
Yep. Just tell boyfriend, just stand like this and be like, lather me up. No,
wait until the peeling begins. That's the fun part.
I started peeling like in my forehead, so I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have like, it's gonna look like I have what is it called, vitiligo, because just the uneven skin tones of me peeling is next level.
It's all right. You got a nice tan.
I hope so.
It was just a little painful this time.
I'm a little snake shedding your skin right now, so it's fine.
Nice.
I'll come out glowing and young and youthful.
There you go. That's right. Give it a couple days. Yeah. Nigel, what about you? What was your low for the week?
I'll give it a two-way tie. Work took a hard left. My client made some choices that we couldn't stand by, and that made things interesting. And then also at work, the accounting guy had gone out of town, and so all my timesheets that I had sent in were just kind of just sitting there in the inbox. So I didn't get paid for like 3 weeks.
Oh, hell no.
I mean, it's fine. But I reached out, I was like, hey, I haven't got a confirmation about like my timesheets. He's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I've been out of town for the last 10 days. And I was like, that's cool, but like, so when do I get paid for any work? So I think those two are probably the lows. Work taking a turn, and then not getting paid what I'm supposed to for the work that I was doing.
That's
right. There's like no like, hey, get in your time sheets early so I can get this done. There's no communication on that end.
It's weird because like we're all contract employees, so like, you know, there may be 20 of us working, but only 3 of us working at a time. And so somewhere, I think he like there's a shift change when I wasn't working. Like I had some time off, so I'm sure that people who were working got the text, and then when I clocked in, they assumed that I knew about it. So I was just sending in timesheets like, yeah, this is great. And then I got paid in like 3 weeks. Like this is a thing. This
is odd.
You're like, what is happening?
My accountant
I go to my bank account every day and like refresh. And like something's missing. There's a couple.
Starts calling the bank like,
hey, are you guys getting?
I got any pending deposits? Like something.
Yeah,
something's got to be coming in. Oh man, we do have some comments on our YouTube that unfortunately did not come in through our chat on the screen here. But Fuzzy Bunny said, "Yo," and then he said, "You're gonna have the vertigo." When you're talking about vitiligo.
Unk is in the chat too. He was like, "What up, lady?" And Nigel.
I'll take it. It's fine.
What's it? Oh, see, I'm not seeing that one either, so I'm glad you're seeing it. Can you see the YouTube ones, B?
Yeah, YouTube. Yep. I
Okay,
forgot
good.
all
Then
about the chats. I thought it was
you'll
just
be
us
in
four in
charge.
the room.
Oh, good. You'll be in charge of the chat today because I can't see any of it. Woohoo. All
My
right.
mom's in the chat too, so she's like,
Oh,
sure.
hi, Mom. All right. There's no
Oh,
basketball
hold
game to
on.
watch.
Cass,
Oh,
the people are showing up.
hello.
Dang.
Yay. Hello, the people. Yes. All of our 5 followers. We
I
appreciate
love
y'all.
it. The dedication, the loyalty, the commitment.
Yes, all of it.
We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. But it is time to get the show started now that we've gone through our highs and lows. And as I mentioned earlier, before I got disconnected, we are celebrating the daddies today, which is why Nigel's here. He is representing for all the male species in the entire world. No
Those are big shoes to
pressure.
fill. Those are big shoes.
Yeah, no pressure, but pressure. But we are going to be focusing because we did a Father's Day episode last year with my husband on the show. Shout out to Gabe. But it was a very emotional episode. It was very much about like just fatherhood in general, the different roles that dads kind of play. So the tone that we kind of want to go, or the direction that we want to go with in this episode, is talking about the man that fathers want to be, whether they're that or not. But it's kind of like the idea, the definitions of what makes a good father, or what makes you feel like you should do this in order to be considered a good dad. All the green flags, everything that's good about fatherhood and ideal.
Yeah.
So, of course, with that said, I'm going to kick it off with a question to Nigel.
All right.
Do you know your father?
You know my father.
I know your father.
Yeah.
It's mine, I don't know.
I never do, my father. So when you hear the man I want to be from a father perspective, what comes to mind first?
I think I can go with like lived experience, in terms of like my own brief period of being a dad, because I'm still new to the game. But I also look at my dad. I think my dad taught me a lot of the man that I want to be. Like even from relationship wise, like when I was a kid, I'd go downstairs to go to school in the morning, and every day without fail, my dad has my mom's coffee ready, and there's a love note on the mug. And so, like from a very early age, like just getting to see what a relationship looks like, because I feel like that's the thing, is that being a dad is great, but like I'm more focused on like being a parenting team, like me and my wife together, that like there are no, this is dad's job, this is mom's job, like we're a team, and so we our roles fluctuate. And I didn't realize how low the bar was, unfortunately, for fatherhood until I had my daughter. I want to say day 2, we're in the hospital, and the nurse comes over to change her diaper, and I said, "Hey, I've never changed a diaper. Can you show me?" She's like, "Oh, I can just do it. You don't have to worry." I was like, "No, but I should know how to change a diaper." And it was like the bare minimum. And she went and told my wife, your husband's one of the best dads we've seen. I was like, because I want to learn how to change a diaper?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys saw that, but on TikTok, it was going viral that there were dads that were saying like, "Oh yeah, for my daughter, I'd never change her diaper. Like, I'll have my wife do that." And it's like, so your wife's gone, you just let your daughter sit in a dirty diaper all day?
Fuck that. I already did all the work. You better get your ass in here and change this damn diaper.
And so I think, it's close to relationship goals, but also in terms of fathership goals, that I want to make sure that me and my wife approach parenting as a team. That like, we both know how to listen. We both know how to love. We both know how to lead. We both know how to take care of things around the house. Like, I don't think that there should be anything that is strictly her job or my job, unless it's like getting stuff on the top shelf. That's me. She's not going to do that. We got a step ladder, but that's about as good as it gets for her.
I mean, I can hop up on the counter, but you don't want me to do that.
Yeah.
At this ripe age, I may hurt myself. But that's awesome. That's amazing to hear that you're focused on the teamwork and giving your kids that example the way that you got it back then.
Right.
Now, going to the ladies. Oh, look, Cassandra loves that too. See, you're already getting hand claps over there. Ladies, when you guys talk to men or are around men, and you think about father figures, what do you think those men around you may hear in their head or come to mind first when you say something like, what's the man you want to be?
Sorry.
I'm like, live show.
But are you asking in the sense of what I think they are thinking, or like what I think
Yeah.
they think it means?
What you think they think it means, yeah.
I think it's a lot of traditional masculinity,
Mm.
the provider, and like the I'm taking care of this, and that, the traditional role setting in life.
So like the opposite of what Nigel
Very
just
opposite of what Nigel
Yeah.
said. So I'm like, I'm competing with a real life man over here. So
What about you,
Yeah.
Shar?
I'd have to agree with Bianca. I think we've kind of like had that conversation before
Mhm.
about just the way most men think. And I just think it just comes from the way you were brought up, and not everybody, had that, where it was kind of like a blended job and we're doing this together. It was more of like your roles, my roles, and that's just how people were raised.
right.
So I think there are some fathers who go that route, but I think the majority of them have that. I'm a provider, I'm a protector, and that's just kind of my role.
I
Right.
agree with you guys with the whole masculinity thing. I think immediately, I mean, until they find out they're having a girl, let's be frank. But I think that the masculinity comes out in them when they know, like, oh, I'm about to be a dad, and I got to protect and I got to provide, and
Right.
that kind of thing. But to Shari's point, I think a lot of men are very much a product of their environments. And so, Nigel in his environment was very fortunate to have a really loving household to kind of model after.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not the case for everyone out there. But there's a lot of men that choose to, they either victimize themselves if they're not in that type of scenario and create the same type of environment for their children because that's all they know, or they learn from the
Different.
experiences they had as a child and say, I want something different for my child. And so it really depends on the men
I
to
think I
kind
think
of
the
determine
masculine
that.
part really is second nature, like the whole want to protect and provide stuff. But I feel like with a lot of men, you can get so caught up in that you are not there, that you don't understand the
Mhm.
quality time. You don't understand the value of emotional competency. And so, sure, like of course, again, my wife's 4'11", so as far as like being a protector, that's going to be on me. We both work. Do I make more money? Sure, but we both work and provide, and so she does more childcare stuff just because she has more time. And so, some of the traditional stuff I feel like comes natural, but there's just a lot of men who've talked about like when their father passes, it's like what do you say about your dad? And then they realize they never really knew the man. They knew what he did and what he provided, but to know who he was on an emotional level, on an intelligence level, kind of thing. I think that goes to the wayside, and so I feel like that's been my goal. It's like, yeah, protect, provide, but also I want to make sure that I'm there for the little things. Like, yeah, you don't because people don't need protection every single day, but they may need a hug every single day. They
Right.
need some
11 a day, actually.
right?
11 a day. Wow.
11 hugs a day.
Yes.
That makes sense because these girls hug me all fucking day.
We do have a lot of guys in the chat. So I know, Nigel, you are expressing like I was combating how we thought the assumption was more traditional. You are already kind of, correcting that stereotype. But we do have some guys in the chat who, you reference how you have first-hand experience of my dad is my role model. So we have some guys in the chat who their dads have passed away.
Yeah.
So let's kind of shine that light on when someone doesn't have that firsthand father figure in their life, how those role models, those male figures in general, still shape that mindset of the man that people become and the fathers that they end up being.
Yeah, I think and again, I don't have the answers. My father's still with me, so I don't want to speak on someone's experience. But I think if you can step outside of, a gender for a little bit, and have female role models, where it's like, like I don't think that there have to be necessarily these good gender traits. Like my mom is an incredible leader,
Mhm.
my mom is a
That's
fantastic.
right, baby. No,
And so
just-
those are things that, like, sure, if you're missing that specific father figure, I think you can go for honorable traits for a person. I don't think it takes a man to be a leader, a man to be a listener, a man to be hardworking, a man to be driven. If God forbid my father wasn't around, my mother could have taught me to do those things.
Mm.
And sure, there are definitely male things. Like again, my dad taught me how to shave. My dad taught me how to drive a car and work on stuff. I mean, my dad taught me those lessons, but I think I'd want to be more concerned that I'm a good person before I'm a good man. For anything,
I love that.
Mhm.
good.
Mm.
Yes. And I will say, like, even in us talking about the masculinity thing, I feel like the definition of masculinity has definitely changed,
Yes.
as far as like what's important for men now versus, 40, 50 years ago, even, not too long ago. Kind of long ago for some of y'all, but not too long ago, right? But yeah, that has definitely evolved. We do have a comment from Cass on Facebook. She said, someone who shows up for their kids, Daniel, who's her husband, struggled with being away for work. And when Mia had school events and with our second child, he really strived to be more present for the kids' events and achievements. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and then, Unc in the chat too, he said, I believe I did a great job juggling father and work duties. I was involved in all their activities. And I think we're starting to see that more and more shift where male presence is starting to be more apparent in kids' lives, where the father figure starts, breaking that stereotype or that assumption that it's like, oh, the man works. Well, so does the mom. The mom
Mhm.
goes to, picks up the kids and goes to their activities. Now we're starting to see that shift where fathers are also playing that role as well. They're also recognizing that. And we see that trend of that co-parenting, that sharing responsibility. Nigel was touching on it earlier of how, it is a teamwork. It is, we do the financial together, the cooking together, the baby, caring for the babies together. Like we are starting to see that shift. So I asked like um, at what point when you were expecting to be a father did you realize like, am I ready for this? Is like all the things that I've learned firsthand. Um,
Enough.
is it gonna be?
I think I was on a subway actually. I was in New York. We were living in New York, and we were debating on whether we were going to move back to Texas to be closer to family or stay in New York. And so there were pros and cons to both of those things. It's like, you know what? I do love New York. There's more culture here. Politically speaking, I happen to like New York more than Texas. Uh, you know, Going back to Texas, though, there's more family, there's more assistance for Nat, there's more breaks, yada yada yada. And so I was on the subway, and I realized when I thought about it from my daughter's point of view, there were no pros to being in New York. There were all the pros being in Texas, and so it was the first time that I had to realize, oh, like I have to make the right choice for somebody else. Like I have to decide what I want and be able to do the right thing for you because you can't speak for yourself, and I have to do that. And so that was my first little glimpse of being a father of taking care of someone that can't take care of themselves and making the right choice for somebody else instead of for myself. I think that was the very first little like inkling that I had of that.
There's that consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. Shari talks about it all the time.
Yeah. It's the highest form of love is consideration. So that's big.
And kind of young, we talked about before, and Teresa about, the expectation for like what it means to be a good dad or be a good parent is changing. I think it is because of kind of female empowerment. I think back in the day, if you were a woman, you can't own a bank account, you can't speak for yourself, you can't vote. What makes a good man is, does he have good money? And back then, if in the South, does he go to church? Do you have a job and do you go to church?
Right.
Now that women can make their own money and take care of themselves, you have to bring more to the table than just money. It's like, are you going to be a compromiser? Are you going to be part of a team? Are you going to respect me? And so I think when you look at a lot of the alpha male movements, a lot of the incel movements, I think that's in response to men being asked to do more than just have money.
Yeah.
You have to be a good partner. I think some people aren't willing to do that work.
A lot of men are forced now because of what you said of like the change in women and the evolution in the female species, a lot of men are being forced now to be better communicators, to be more emotionally in touch with themselves. And so yeah, it's showing for sure. Like you can see it. It's very different. I've met a lot more people now that were raised by a single father, whereas like back in the day you never encountered people that were being raised by their dad alone.
Right.
Or you know what I mean? Or you meet, like, one of my cousins and her husband were trying to have a baby. Unfortunately, they never succeeded, but like when they were trying to plan it all out, they were planning for him to be a stay-at-home dad because she wanted to work and he wanted to be at home with the baby. And so it's honestly, for me, like, having 3 kids in very different times because they're so spread apart, it's beautiful to me to see that evolution because these kids need that. They need that emotional connection from their fathers the same way that they get it from their mothers.
Right.
It's just unfortunate that not everybody gets those opportunities sometimes.
Absolutely.
I did like the point that you made earlier, Nigel, when you said, before I'm a great dad, I got to be a great man. So I want to talk, the episode is, the man I want to be. We want to talk about the good qualities in men that we hope to strive for or instill in the young men today. So you kind of touched on one topic of the emotional intelligence. It's not just providing anymore. You want to emotionally be aware of yourself and your surroundings. So what let's talk about that emotional intelligence in men.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the first step is like getting a good sense of objectivity, like having the knowledge that just because you see, think, or feel something does not make that the ultimate truth, and being willing to hear other perspectives. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not perfect at it. My wife will tell you that in a heartbeat. Like, having the ability. I mean, and again, I've met some people who come from a very different time with men, where it's like, you go to their house and like they control every conversation. We talk about what I want to talk about, and we're done when I'm done with it, and we go to the next thing, go to the next thing.
Mhm.
I control everything, and so I think the first thing that I want to be able to do is be objective. Can I evaluate my own biases? Can I understand that like I'm wrong in a systemic number of ways? Like if you're a jealous person, you should know that about yourself. You should be able to approach conversations knowing where your shortcomings lie. If you're quick to anger, you should be able to have the emotional maturity to say, wait a minute, is this something I really should get angry about, or is this a shortcoming that I have? And so I think the first thing is objectivity above all things. Can you see yourself from outside of yourself? Or are you just in this bubble that I'm always right, and whenever I see, whenever I think and feel is reality? Once you can smash that and show some empathy, and have some balance, when you can start that, the whole process begins after that.
Right. And I think it's important to note that, you're doing a lot of comparisons, and it's important to recognize that there's a difference between being an emotional man and being emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
So, but being emotional sometimes is looked down on. One can recognize what they're feeling, but sometimes men are still struggling to express the feelings to begin with. So
I
how
think
can, with that lack of knowledge, they can't have that experience?
I think men have ridden too long on the idea that they're not emotional, but anger and rage is an emotion. It's a surface level emotion, and there's stuff behind that. But men have always been emotional. I mean, my mom would talk about, growing up in church in the South, that these women would come to church with black eyes, and everybody knows what's happening in the house, but no one says anything. It's like, yeah, that's an emotion. It's a cheap emotion. Anger is a very empowering emotion. It feels powerful. But a man who's punching holes in the wall and a man who can't stop crying are both two men that are controlled by their emotions. And so emotional intelligence doesn't mean that you are victim to your emotions. That's what being emotional is. Emotional intelligence is having the ability to think about your feelings and not be controlled by them.
Love it with that.
So
So
Shari's like,
she's like, clock it, clock it.
exactly.
We want to make this a space where we do have a lot of men in the chat. I want your input on this, but how can we as women, or even better, how can men make other men feel safe to feel those emotions?
I like that one, B.
That's a tough one.
Because,
I
men got a lot of pride.
I think it's two things. One, it's a leap of faith. I mean, opening yourself up and letting someone on those emotions. You risk being hurt. Like there's nothing that anyone can do to make that go away. So you're going to have the courage to take that leap of faith. And then two, I think my dad told me this when I was a kid, and it was the bane of my existence for years. But he said that there are no shortcuts to happiness, and no one can make you feel happy except for yourself. And I think the same thing that's true with emotions, where it's like you cannot expect a woman or a man friend of yours to hold an emotion that you can't hold yourself. Like it's got to come from you, and you got to be ready.
Right.
And I think it's a thing that I've gone through, in my life, especially with sobriety, is that you have to get to a point where you are more afraid of things staying the same than you are afraid of them changing.
Mhm.
That's where change lives, where it's like, you know what, I don't know what this change is going to be like. I don't know what being vulnerable is going to be like, but I know what not being vulnerable is going to be like, and I can't do this anymore. I mean, you see these men who have had hard feelings, where it's like the inside of them, there's still a little boy who misses his dad. There's still
Mhm.
a teenage boy who a girl embarrassed at a dance one time. You still have all of these things inside of you, and until you give those people, those versions of yourself, space to breathe and be who they need to be, they're going to eat your lunch all day, every day.
Yes. Yes. Why do you think it's so difficult for some men, not all, to be comfortable in vulnerability?
Because of other men, we did it to ourselves.
Mm.
Everyone, I mean, that's the thing when it comes to men and women, is that there is this game that is very beneficial to very few people, and we're all playing the game. No one likes the game except for these few people, and so the rest of us are all playing it. And that's the thing. Until you remove yourself from it and realize you don't have to play the game, it just keeps going on.
Right. We do have some viewers on our Instagram, and we don't see their comments, but Kofair Corner said, no judgment space. You need to be okay with being vulnerable and okay with hearing when you are not always right.
That's the
Yes.
part that I was trying to bring into, like, because I was like, pride is a big barrier for a lot of men too. It's like they let their pride dictate what they're okay with and what they're not okay with, especially if they have to hear that they're not right for whatever reason.
Oh my God, it's worse than that, more now than ever. I find that, and again, I'm not being judgmental of these men,
Right.
but if you
Yeah.
get into these alpha male spaces, they have turned like the straightest thing you can do, which is sex with a woman, into pleasing other men. It makes no sense. It's like you're going out, like you see these dudes and they talk about like, oh, I'm bagging all these tens and I'm doing this. But I don't want to get too graphic. There's nothing I
No,
can't
go
say.
for it. Yeah.
Offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guys out there like, oh, the female, it was the funniest thing. He's like, the female orgasm is a myth. If she gets there, she gets there. But it's like, so you're having sex with 20 different women, none of them like it. What are you doing this for? And it's just to like get the approval of other men. It's
Yeah,
the
he's
weirdest-
like those rookie numbers the stats that I give my friends.
you're having sex with women to get the approval of other men. So even in the bedroom, even when you're with a woman, you're still doing it for the approval of other men, which is the weirdest thing because it's that ingrained into their psyche.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If we have men in the chat, I want your thoughts on that. Do you feel like no, really, because do y'all feel, or let's be a little bit self-aware for a moment, men who are viewing this. Do you actually have sex for the woman to have sex with a woman, or is it because you want to tell your friends? It's an experience that you want to share with your friends. The story, the stats are more important rather than the experience with the woman itself. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I mean, that was me in my younger years for sure.
I was
Like,
gonna say that's probably the younger years for a lot of. I mean, don't get me wrong; some of them never grow out of it, but uh, it's not even about age, though. It's just about maturity. It's about knowing yourself and being secure in who you are, because insecurities are what cause a lot of outside noise to get in.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I definitely feel like there was times where I had to work through that and like evaluate my own biases. I grew up in a household that there was not a drop of misogyny in there, but I still had some unconscious biases. I remember, I tell the story quite a bit. There was a girl that I was walking back to her car after this party, and I was like early in sobriety, so 2021. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. I know she's going to try to get something. And so I walked her back to her car, and nothing ever happened. I was like, that was weird. I didn't get that at all. And it happened again. I was like, "Hey, why do you want me to walk you to your car?" She's like, "Because I'm a woman. It's like 11 o'clock." But I was so ingrained in my own life, and I was being so selfish and self-centered, I had never considered her perspective. Like, it never
Mm.
dawned on me that, "Oh, other people have different experiences than mine." Because when I wanna leave a place, I just walk to my car. I don't need someone to walk me to my car. But I was like, "Oh, wait, that's right. Like, you're a woman. It's dark out, and we're in the city. Like, this is a bad thing for you." But I'd never
Mhm.
taken the time to consider that perspective. I was just focused on myself.
Oh, you're gonna be considering that even more now that you have a daughter, just FYI.
Yeah, I've done the work. That was like 10 years ago. I've done the
Yeah.
work since then. But as
Yeah.
a teenage boy, it was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shar, do you have any thoughts? You've been real
Um,
quiet.
no, I'm listening. um, no, I was just gonna say I think it's funny because I know we've like touched on this in previous episodes just about men and like you're talking about how men do things to appease other men, right? And like things like that. But then I think it's funny that men are also the ones that don't have a lot of friends, right? So who are we really doing it for? Are we really doing it to appease our friends, or are you doing it to boost your own ego?
Mm,
Mm.
I think at the end of the day, it's the ego because even when if
yeah.
you appease your friends, that makes you feel good. And I
Mm-hmm.
think through social media to this and the idea that like there are cameras everywhere. Everything is being recorded, and any interaction that I have with a woman, it's going to be in the ladies group chat. 10 minutes later, that like that there's always this audience watching.
Yeah.
I think it's a form of ego, but also like the first primary concern is how do I get the approval from these other men? How do I get these men to tell me that I'm okay? And I think that's what that's ultimately rooted in is that it is much easier to get the favor and the high opinion of others than to give it to yourself.
Mm,
It is a lot easier to find someone to tell you that you are worth something than doing the work to find your own self-worth.
mhm.
I like that.
And
Just
a
want
lot
to
of
catch us
people
up
don't
on
wanna
some
do the
chats
work.
too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Go ahead, T.
No, I
Gonna
just
catch
said, and a lot of people don't wanna do the work, so,
right.
It's not fun.
yeah.
It's
No,
not
it's
easy.
not.
Real
Um,
quick, Chado on Facebook said, I do have a lot of pride, but I will listen to see others' opinions. I'm not perfect, but I will listen to reason. Gabe on our YouTube say other men and women thoughts and opinions on the men to be seen as weak.
Yeah.
Fuzzy Bunny on our YouTube said, I would say that it isn't specifically men, but just the propensity of for others in general to weaponize vulnerability. A man
mhm.
who shows weakness and error means that they're incapable and untrustworthy. So I do like the men are coming in on the chat, and Nigel, you are explaining how that growth over time, you become more self aware, and you are taking accountability for the mistakes or the things that you've maybe have misinterpreted in some ways. So I think accountability is another good green flag to talk about in men because you know what, there's a difference, and I want to highlight this, a difference between apologizing for something and actually taking accountability and changing taking action on it. So ladies, Nigel, thoughts on accountability in men?
I think for a lot of people, not just men in general,
Mm,
the accountability is determined by the level of maturity and security, right? Because a lot of people have a hard time admitting that they're wrong or taking accountability for the actions that they choose to perform because they're just not there yet. They haven't done the work to get there. So it's and again, not just for men. That's for just people in
mhm.
general. I think accountability just comes with maturity. So you either have it or you don't.
Yeah. And I think a man is so quick to apologize, but not realize what they're apologizing for. I think that's a
Well,
big thing that I've experienced a lot. Y'all can share y'all's experiences or thoughts on if that ever happened to y'all, why you think it does happen.
Well, it depends on who's giving the apology, right? And the type of person that they are. Because there's apologies to shut you up and end the conversation. Because I don't want to deal with this confrontation. So let me just say I'm sorry. And then all they say after that is, I already said I'm sorry,
Right.
because that makes it better. But then there's the men that have done the work and have, gone through the phases they need to go through to discover themselves, that can actually give a genuine apology and say, I'm sorry for,
Right.
not for how you took it. Okay. Don't say that one. Okay. Just I'm sorry for, and understanding what the mistake might have been.
Right.
It's taking
I
accountability for your actions.
Yeah.
When you use the statement "I apologize for" or "I'm sorry for," and not using the how you felt, but it's you calling out yourself. It's you realizing that in this moment it was on me. It was and I mean it could be a two-way thing too.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
People react off of
Absolutely.
each other. It definitely can go both ways, but I think it's just making us both aware that you are aware that the issue is bigger than what it may seem, or
Right.
that you're willing to take accountability for the fuck up. And I think that it's more about that. It's not just about shutting somebody up. You have to listen. You have to be able to be a problem solver. Don't just create them.
Yeah. Nigel, anything to share on that one?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know that I need an apology for my feelings so as much as I need an apology for almost acknowledgement that, like, hey, you get what happened and you get why it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if we're talking in a relationship standpoint, whether that be platonic or romantic, it's like the beginning of setting a boundary. It's like, because if you truly understand why this is wrong, you won't do it again.
Yeah.
So if I can get some acknowledgement, I mean, that's what I need. As long as you understand what happened here, depending on what happened.
So I have a question for Nigel, just because he's mentioned his growth a few times and the work that you've put in. And, just from the couple minutes that we have talked, you are clearly very emotionally intelligent.
I try.
Or you perceive you've made us think you are, at least, right? But when you talk about doing the work, right? Because we know you have a wife, you have a young daughter, right? How did becoming a father, or knowing you were about to become a father, play a role in that growth process for you?
I think that specifically just made me want to be more of a provider. And again, not just because I'm a man. I think it forced me and my wife to lean further into the roles that we had already in our relationship. Um, and I think because we worked with teenagers for so long, right, in the substance use field, like, I've seen what happens when parents aren't involved. I've been to the funerals for children because people weren't involved and no one stepped up. My parents also set a fantastic bar for what it looks like to have a happy, healthy, adult, productive life. And so, who we were before we had our daughter, definitely more selfish. Our finances were not as consistent as they needed to be in terms of responsible spending, preparing for the future. So I think having a kid forced me to do those things, which I'd say is more adult than emotional work. I think the emotional work really, and again, I know it's not the same for everybody. Was when I got sober. That was the biggest thing for me. Is that the path that put me on, the program that put me on. It's big on introspection. It's big on self-reflection. It's big on finding your error in things, evaluating yourself. And so I think now, ever since then, it's a recurring process that, like, you got to do a check-in, not every single day, not every single month, but every so often, ask yourself, like, am I the person that I want to be? If not, how do I become that person? Um,
I love that you said that. I know you're still talking, but I have to say that because a lot of people, when they think check-ins, especially when they're in marriages or relationships or have children, things like that, they think check in with my spouse, check in on my kids. There's never people that really call out checking on
Internal.
yourself. And so thank you for saying that.
I think I got to kind of a crossroads where I realized, and it's a jarring experience, that, like, I've been looking at life one way and I was wrong. You know what I mean? It's really hard to, like, get that meta kind of commentary that even down to my way of thinking, the way that I think about things is wrong. And then from there, you're like, okay, well, how do I think differently? And that starts this whole process of changing yourself. And the way that I think I found it easy was I had to think of who I wanted to be and then pretend to be that person. And as I kept pretending to be that person, after a while, it stopped being pretend, and that's just who I was. Like,
Right.
it didn't take effort to think about how to be that guy. I am that guy.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that right? Now, we have talked about a lot of green flags, like from consideration, accountability, emotional intelligence. And so I kind of want to open the floor to us women, Nigel, viewers as well. What are some other green flags that you would like to mention and give honor to, acknowledge that these are green flags? Women, we consider them as green flags. What should be green flags? I want to give an open floor to everybody. What are some green flags in men that we can highlight?
I want to highlight a green flag that Nigel kind of brought to our attention from the beginning of this conversation, which was the way that he supports his strong, independent woman. You know what I mean? Like it's so refreshing to hear any man talk about, the partnership and things like that, because the green flag is that he is confident without being insecure about
Mhm.
the power that comes with dealing with a strong, independent woman. Because a lot of men that aren't confident kind of fold under those types of situations. And then the independent women get flagged as, difficult or,
Right.
things like that. So that is the green flag I want to talk about right there, is just the fact that you are able to not only support, but allow her to balance things. Hey, you don't want to take the emotional weight? I'll take it this time, right? Or I'm feeling like this, can you take that? And she'll be willing to. You know what I mean? It's just that partnership. That's a huge green flag. Huge green flag.
I like that. Shari, what are some green flags that you want to highlight in men?
I mean, I think coming from where we've been and like how everything has evolved with men and women, I just think it's a green flag for men to want to be present and want to be the stay at home
Mm.
parent and
Mhm.
want to contribute to the day in and day out, the taking care of, the nurturing, the like. That to me is a huge green flag because you either get those that are like, I'm way too masculine for that. That's not my department, or you get the ones who don't have the capacity to be able to do it because either they didn't get it, they don't know how to. So I think like just having a man who can do that, who can, how women all the time we say we play both roles, a man who can play both roles, right? Like
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that it's a beautiful thing to see, and it's happening more and more in this time, and I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And
Just
I've definitely oh, go ahead. Yeah.
no, just highlighting some comments here. Jamin says there are definitely young parents that have a successful child. It's so hearts blessed, and pray and know that they remain strong.
Yes. I was going to say, Shari reminded me of something I've probably said on this show before. I don't know if I've said it on the show before. Now that I think, sexiest thing in the world is seeing a man be a good dad. It is the biggest turn
Hands down.
on ever,
Mhm.
ever. So like the emotional, everything that comes with that, right? Because it's not just emotional intelligence; it's so much more.
Right.
But seeing it in action, whew, baby, it's the
It's a
best.
beautiful thing.
It is a very, very beautiful thing. We do have a comment from Fuzzy Bunny on our YouTube. He said, "LOL, I can't say because I've never done it outside of a relationship. I was boring." What?
Oh, you're
Oh,
catching up on some old comments.
oh, I was like, what is that?
Are
Okay,
we
so
still
that
doing
was a while
Yeah.
green flags?
ago.
I think it's a big one. It came up in conversation with my mom a couple days ago. Is like wanting to be a leader and being a leader. Like I feel like if you
Mm,
get into a relationship, you're like, well, I have the penis, so I'm in charge. It's like, but do you have the traits of a leader? Like again, I would say
Right.
that I take a more leadership role in our house, not because I was ordained to have a penis. It's not like what makes it, but it's
right.
like if you want to be a leader, are you going to put in the work to be a leader? Are you going to, celebrate the successes together and the failures that you may have had as a leader? Or is it just, well, I just pick all the things because I have the penis? So like do you want to be a leader or are you actually a leader? And so I think
Right.
if you find a man that's like, hey, like, you know what, like, let me show you why I think, you know, I should lead our household. Not lead in the sense that like you do what I say when I say it, but like, hey,
Right.
like, you know, I will put in the work and say, okay, you know what, I want to better our quality of life. Let me put in some work to figure out how to do that for us. That's a leader versus we're eating here tonight. Don't wear that. Don't do this. Like that's
Mhm.
Right.
wanting to be a leader and being a leader. And
Oh,
then
good one, Mom. No.
I brought it to her because I saw someone on TikTok that lost their goddamn mind. That was like,
Oh, Lord.
on the first date, I expect that she's submissive. To who? Who are you? What have you done? Why would anyone follow you? You're an idiot.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
You're an
that,
idiot. I love it.
Like in the work, like in the workplace when they say like there's bosses and there's
Mhm.
leaders, right?
Right, right.
And that's kind of what it comes down to. You can't just be a boss. you have to
But
put it.
like, action. Like you're saying, like,
I was just gonna
you
say action.
want to be a good man, but are you a good man? Are you doing the things that make you a good man? The actions are the green flags. It's the follow through of it. I know somebody who's like, I hate my job. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And 3 years pass by. I'm like, you're still at the same job, saying that you hate it. You
Right.
have no follow through. So I think I'm gonna add on to that. A green flag is goal setting, because hey, that tells
Drive.
me that you are open-minded, that you are into evolving, that you're into growth, that you essentially, I would hope that you are a planner at in some aspect. So I would like to add that into the hat of a green
Yeah.
flag.
absolutely.
It's not just the planning, though. It's not just the goal setting. It's doing the actions to work
Right.
towards it, even if they're minimal, right? Even if it's baby steps, just taking the steps towards the goals
Right.
Yeah.
is what's important. And going back to his comment about showing that you can be a leader, a lot of women want to live in their feminine energy and they
Mm-hmm.
want to be with a man that's willing to lead because again, a lot of women are more career driven. I got to be a leader at work and at home. I'm tired. Like so it's like
Right.
we love a man that can allow us, not force, right? Allow us to be safe enough to sit in our feminine energy and you go ahead and lead, baby. You go ahead and lead.
But that can
So,
only happen if you know that he's got it. That's the thing.
yeah.
Right.
If
That's
you're
that
just riding
trust.
high on the like, I've got a penis thing, it's like, well, that's great, but like,
You got to show me.
but where are you leading us to? It's like, I'm leading this to poverty. It's like, I'm not following you. I'm not following you to the projects. No, thank you.
A man can come up to me and say, I got a penis, but I'm like, I got a rose. What else do you have to offer at this point? And this
There
is
we go.
me.
I think the other one, and I touched on in the beginning, is I've been out of the game for a minute. Like I said, me and my wife have been together for almost 10 years. But there's been this massive shift in dating culture and like social media dating culture where
Mm.
it's like
Shari's rolling her eyes.
where it is competition that like
Yeah.
people are either, usually the women, are being asked to dull their light so the man can shine. And it goes back to the leadership thing. It's like if you want to be the shining star, you need to go shine.
Yeah.
Why are you asking someone else to dull themselves so that you look good in
Right.
that comparison?
Mhm.
And also there's this thing of like a lot of these men are scared that the woman's going to take advantage of them. Well,
Mhm.
first off, you don't have any gold to be dug, so don't worry about gold diggers. Get you some gold first, and then you can worry about gold diggers. You're not eligible for that. And then women are worried
You're
about
not eligible for that. I
you're
love
not
that.
eligible for gold diggers. You have no gold.
I'm gonna start saying that to people. I'm
You're not
sorry.
eligible.
You're
Yeah,
not
you absolutely
eligible
should
for
be.
gold digger.
Yeah, if you're in the NBA and you got a contract, hey, you should watch out for gold diggers. But if you're working at Staples, buddy, don't worry. No one's coming for your gold. There is none.
I'm so stealing that one. Thank you, Nigel.
But and again, women are worried about being taken advantage of and perception of society where if I get with this man and he gives me a child and then leaves to find another man, I have to find a man willing to be a stepdad to my children. And so
Right.
there's this competition. And I can't imagine living in a house where I feel like I'm living with my competitor and not my teammate.
Yes.
I won't do it.
I love that.
The world is too crazy for me not to have a single place in this world where I can breathe. We're going to have
Yeah.
peace. And I think that, again, for a lot of people, men and women, if you can get yourself to a place of peace, you will feel when something disturbs it. And you will know that that's not the path for you. Because
Amen.
once you have peace, I give that up for nobody other than my child. She's not very peaceful. She gets a pass.
She means war.
Little
Yeah,
stickers.
absolutely.
No, that's so true. I've definitely been on my do not disturb my fucking peace journey for several years now. So yes, I completely agree. We are getting close to the top of the hour, and there's one question that I want to ask Nigel that kind of brings this all back to the topic of the show. Um, if we were to ask your daughter in 20 years, how would you describe your dad to us? What do you hope that she will say?
I think it's two things. I want her to say that she felt that she knows who I am, and that she knows that I love her. You know, I feel like some daughters don't have that, where it's like, yeah, like my dad takes care of me, but to know unquestionably that you are loved. And then I want to make sure that I have been present enough and open enough that she feels like she knows who I am.
I love that. I love that.
Aw, tears.
Ladies, or I mean, Shari, we both have sons, right? What qualities do we want our sons or be nephews, your younger brother, right? What kind of qualities would you want them to develop for people to know them for?
I always tell my son, I don't be a decent human being
Yes.
first. That is the number one rule. Like, you are human. You are going to make mistakes, and I'm here for it because you're going to learn through them. But be a good person.
Yes.
Have a good heart. Don't let people take advantage, because that's a fine line to straddle too. But to just be a decent human being with some common sense. Like,
God, please.
because,
Yes.
gosh,
Common sense ain't so common
Yeah.
these days.
no, it's a very scary world. Like, and the more I'm on social media, I'm like, oh my God, we are fucking cooked for the next generation. But like, seriously, like, I think that's the hardest line out. He can do a bunch of shit, and I'll be like, oh my God, you're driving me crazy. But like, when he does something that like affects his character, like in the character that I'm trying to build him to be,
Right.
I think that hurts me the
Yep.
most. It's like, no, we got to go back. Let's go back and relearn that, because like, I can't just
Right.
send you out into the world with this mentality of, oh, it's my way, or you're gonna do, like, no, like, be considerate of other people and their feelings and what you say and what you do and everything. So, I think I'm off to a good start, but
You are.
people, our children will grow up to be who they are as well.
Mhm.
And but I think that for me, I think that's the biggest key, is to just be a decent human
I
being.
agree with you. I ditto to everything you just said. Especially like because my son is an adult already. And so like I tell him pretty much everything that you just said, and be kind, because like you just don't know what other people are going through.
Right.
And a lot of the toxic masculinity that a lot of people try to implement into men makes them be very self-centered. And when you're very self-centered, you're not typically kind to other people because you're not thinking about them. And it's like Shari said, the consideration, right? The highest form of love, consideration. So be kind, be considerate, just be a good fucking human being.
Yeah.
B, what would you want for your brother?
Well, I can't ditto a third time.
Yeah, you can.
No, I think you are right. Like, the consideration, the open mind. Admit it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not know things. We are not perfect. So it doesn't matter the gender or the age. We are ever evolving. It's okay to admit that, that you don't know something, that you feel a certain way. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to feel the things that, you may assume that it's not okay. Don't put yourself in that box. So
Oh, and don't be judgmental. Please, don't be judgmental. I don't like that. I gotta say though, Nigel, this was a great conversation. And I want to say thank you for
Thank you
that,
for having me.
because
This was awesome.
yeah, this was an amazing conversation. I think everything that you said was so important. and needed to be said. Yes, exactly. Good insight, Nigel. Well said. Yes.
Thanks for all the comments.
Yes, all that part. Yep. See, look, all the love is coming through. And I love that it's coming from the guys. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like a majority of our audience is the male species these days. But like, I love that it's resonating with all the men in the chat as well.
Right.
So thank you.
Build the community. I know with all my dude friends, like whenever we all hug, we're all huggers in my friend group. When I tell my dude friends, I don't care what phone call it is, I say I love you at the end of to all my dude friends. There's no shame in our game. So I give me my best friend. We are both grown men with wives and houses, and they give me a call about we're gonna meet up at Chick-fil-A or we're gonna meet up somewhere. It's all right, cool, sounds good, man. Love you, bro. Every call I have, there's no shame in our game.
Love that.
We hug.
I love that.
I love that.
Any shout outs you want to give before we wrap things up, Nigel?
Shout out to my dad. I guess we're talking. This is the man episode.
Yeah.
Shout out to my dad for shout out for my wife for loving me when I mess up and I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. And shout out to my daughter for being so kind to me my first time through. I'm a first time dad. She loves me even when I mess up.
And she gonna test you.
God, she's already trying.
You're in the early stages. Just wait. I love the big sigh. He's like, yeah. I want to give a couple quick shout outs actually myself, since we're kind of on this topic of men and people.
Not again.
Today.
Sorry. Did you hear me curse? Because I did again.
I said fuck.
And I said fucking shit. Stupid internet. But anyway, I want to give a shout out to a few people. First one is actually an artist from the Bay Area, LaRussell. If anyone in the Bay knows him, I know Shari does because her little sister was recently in one of his music videos. But I was watching America's Got Talent today, and he actually went out there with about 50 different people from the Bay Area, kids included, to not just perform his music, but to display their talents as well. So there was like people playing instruments, the harp and dancers and everything. And like, I got teary-eyed just hearing him talk about the fact that he's able to do this for his community and bring them and put them in the spotlight. So shout out to LaRussell for all of that. Believe it or not, one of the guys that was singing in the background is a guy I went to high school with. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, so shout out to Brian too. But going back to the dads, I want to give a shout out to mine and Bianca's friend, Travis, who had his baby today.
Oh, congratulations.
First time father, and we're all super excited for him. Shout out to our friend Mike as well, who's a first-time dad this year. Shout out, of course, to my husband and all my baby daddies. Sorry, I just like making people uncomfortable when I say that. But yeah, like shout out to all the dads, my dad, my husband's dad, who's an amazing father as well. We really couldn't.
We're giving shout outs. Jamin on Facebook said, my daughters love y'all both. So if we're doing shout outs, then I guess I should tell y'all that Jamin is my father.
Shut up! I just got goosebumps. No way!
Fun.
Thanks for joining us.
Everyone's face. Let me just freeze in that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to post that, just that freeze frame of everyone like, oh my god! Now I can't say I never knew my father.
The joke is still funny because I do know him.
That's amazing. Thank you, Dad, for joining us. Shari, any shout outs on your side?
I just want to shout out the fathers who take every day as a new opportunity to put their best foot forward. Because I know it is a challenging place to be in just as a man in the society. And I can't imagine the pressure that comes along with them being a father. Like, just shout out to those that pick up the pieces and try again every day.
And those that are breaking stereotypes too. Those that are trying to break the generational cycles, trying to be the better man.
Yes.
And those are the ones we've got to continue to pour into because they're setting the tone for the next
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, shout out to my sister because she's how I know you guys.
This is true. Yeah. Shout out to Nikita. Hi, Nikita. Yeah. Shout out to Nikita. Anything else? Any other closing remarks before we shut her down?
No.
All right.
Instagram already cut us off. So
Okay.
about 2 minutes ago.
Sorry, Instagram. B, if our listeners aren't following us on all platforms, let them know where they can find us.
If you are, but your daddy ain't, then you can like, follow, and subscribe to us on our social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at It's No Secret Podcast. We have an X account at It's No Secret Pod. We also have a TikTok account that I don't remember the handle, but I'm pretty sure it has
It's No Secret Podcast Life.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has our name in there, so you can search that. If you can't join us on our live stream every Wednesday night, then you can definitely listen to us on Spotify and Apple on Sundays. And if you want to rewatch our live streams and rewatch that reaction again, then you can do that on our YouTube channel.
And until we meet again, be who you want to be. And remember, it's no secret.
Bye.
Bye.